Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the program. I request all the participants, if I am audible, just thumbs up. If I am audible, okay, great. Thank you. So, all the participants, please switch on your camera. Keep your camera on. All the participants, I request all the participants who have joined just now, please switch on your camera. That will be the first instruction, and we have to follow that. You have to keep your camera on and you have to keep your microphone off. Whenever you log in, whenever you log in for the program, you will keep the camera on and you will keep the microphone off. Right? We have kept the option for you to, that you can unmute yourself and mute yourself. If you have some queries, questions, you can unmute yourself and you can answer. Make sure that you keep your microphone off if you are not using it, because many times it gives disturbance, that you are doing something or from the background noise. So we have to do it, that we have to follow the discipline for that, so that the program will not get disturbed. Your name on the screen, the name on the screen should be the name which you have registered with. Let's say that you have registered with, for example, Rahul. So you will be write Rahul, or you can write your name, or you can write your email also, the email which you have registered. Many names like that iPhone 5 or something like that, it's not acceptable. So you will be write your name as per your registered name or email. So we will be know that the right candidate is in our meeting. So it is, please follow that. All the participants, please follow this instruction, that you will write on your screen name. You can rename yourself. You have an option to rename with the name you have registered or with the email you have registered. And you will be keep your camera on, all the participants. The language for this whole program will be English, because many participants we have from outside India. It is like that whole world is here right now. People from India, people from Sri Lanka, from Australia, people from other countries also participating, from Nigeria, Morocco, Nepal, so from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, from European countries. So lots of people from different part of the world joining this program. So the language of this program will be English. And those participants who have already paid for the priority participants, like you have paid for the priority participants, make sure that you fill the certificate form also. If you have paid for the priority participants, you can fill the certificate form. Because if you don't fill the certificate form, we don't know that you are in the paid participant list, right? So you will be fill the certificate form. The certificate form link is in your Zoom meeting email. If you must have received the Zoom meeting email, you will see there is a link there. It's written certificate. Fill that certificate form. So you fill the certificate form properly with your name, proper name, email, because that will be printed on your certificate after the program. The certificate will be given to paid participants only. The study material of the program, recording of the session will be given to the priority participants. It will be not for the free participants. Still, free participants can participate whole program. There is no, that payment schedule for anybody. Somebody who want to join without payment can join, but you will not get this priority benefits like study material and certificates and joining in a priority, right? So let's say that we have a priority. Now we are almost 100 seats we have for this program. So we are almost reached 97, 98 people. So out after 100, we may have to take out some free participants and we have to keep the paid participants who have paid for that. So I'm really sorry for that. We don't have more number of seats. We are only having 100 seats now. But yes, we will be starting another same program will be repeating on tomorrow 7 o'clock. Just after this program will finish, the 7 o'clock again this program will be get repeated, because this program is very much that in demand. So people join this because you get a brief knowledge about the R studio, R programming, and then you take a path for this data analytics part from R. So that's why it's very much demanding. So I need all the participants who are really serious about this program join. Otherwise, give a space to the person who is already seriously waiting outside, because there will be lots of people waiting outside the waiting room. Only 100 we can take in this meeting. After that, everybody will be wait in the waiting room. So that is my kind request to all the participants. Make sure that you are very sincere about the program and really here to learn. If you are not, please you can leave and you can give space to the right candidate. All right. Once again, I request all the participants keep your camera on. Otherwise, we have to keep you out of the program. We have to keep you out of the program. We have to give the, or we have to keep you in waiting room so that you can switch on your camera, and we will be keep only those who have camera on. After program start with Dr. Parmar, you can surely that keep your camera off. Once the program start with Dr. Parmar, within after 5 minutes, if you have a bandwidth issue, let's say lots of people have a bandwidth issue with the internet, so then you can keep your camera off during the session of Dr. Parmar. Once Dr. Parmar join us, you can switch off your camera that time. All right. I hope I'm clear. So once again, I'll repeat those who have joined late. First thing is that when you join with your camera on, microphone off. Uh, Make sure that you keep your notebook and everything ready, right? Do not disturb during the session. You can unmute yourself if you have some queries, questions. And yes, most important, those who have paid for the program must fill your form in your the certificate form in your Zoom meeting email. You have a certificate form, you fill that. All right. Dr. Parmar, you there, sir?
Yes, sir, I am here. Am
Okay,
I
welcome,
audible?
sir.
Yeah.
Welcome, sir. Yes, sir, you are audible. So I just give a little bit brief about Dr. Parmar. Dr. Parmar has more than 25 years experience in the industry. He is a very senior data analyst. He worked with the national and international companies, organization, government, non-government. And if you really want to get trained in R or data science, I think I believe personally, not I, we all, many participants may be joining second time, third time. So the world believes that he is a really gem kind of person where we can learn R and data science from him. And very easily you grab it. You don't have to be, extra intelligent to get that, because we all know that everybody is from different diverse background here. Some of them you will be maybe students, some of you may be doing PhD scholars, some of you may be in industry itself working, doing some software development and all, but few of them may be not at all aware about art. So his way of teaching is such a great, training is such a great, that on the 6th day you will really know that okay, what you have gained, right? So that much I can say. Rest, it is all about experience. When we will be experience it, we will be say from our mouth, right? We will love to hear from your side rather than what we praise ourselves, right? So we'll talk on the third, fourth day, right? Okay. So sir, welcome, and over to you. And I also want to introduce one of our colleague from Nigeria, Mr. Ukobasi. You there?
Good
Yes.
afternoon from Nigeria.
Uh,
Yeah.
Good
uh,
afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So he is from our representative in Nigeria. Many times we have seen that people have payment issue with the PayPal or maybe bank. So you can, from people from that region, from Nigeria or that region, you can connect him directly, and he will help you with that. So he is our official representative of Cypher Analytica there. So thank you very much. Uh, Welcome all once again. Over to Dr. Praman. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thanks, Mukeshji. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
welcome everyone. So first I explain you what we will cover in these 6 days. Okay. So I explain you what we are going to cover. Just a moment, I share my screen with you. Are you getting my screen on your window?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. So let's what we are going to cover in this 6 days workshop. It's not a like other workshop. It is the training session basically. It is the course we are completing. We are going to complete some course of the R. So in the R1, which is the foundation, R foundation, we have given the name. And here we cover first essentials of statistics. Okay, this is a theoretical portion. First we cover this. Second we cover here R basic commands. Okay, R basic commands means the data types of R, and every programming language has a different sort of data types. We will learn about the data types and we will learn the basic functions of the R. Okay, and it would be the practical class. Okay, and third would be univariate analysis, which is called the descriptive, which is a part of descriptive analysis. So we say it is a descriptive analysis. Okay. Nobody has any problem if you are not a technical person. There is no problem in R. Okay. So we learn descriptive analysis. In the descriptive analysis, we learn about the univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, multivariate analysis. We learn about that. Okay. And multivariate. And we also see some visualization here, but not at the par visualization we could learn in 6 days. There is different libraries we use for the visualization, the very pretty visualizations we could produce there. So we will learn in the some advanced courses that, and this all we cover here in this 6 days session. Okay, so we learn all thing in detail, and it's very easy language. R is the world's easiest programming language. Okay, so first I explain you something. I share my PPT with you for a little while. Just a moment. So in the data analytics and data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, whatever, we know that these are related to the way data. Everything is related to data, and we have to study about the data. Here you see I have written so many things, the statistics, the artificial intelligence, the machine learning on the upper side. Here the Python, Advanced Excel, Tableau. These are the tools, Advanced Excel and the R, the SAS, SPSS, MySQL, Hadoop. These are all the tools which we use for data analysis. Okay. Power BI is for the visualization, Tableau is for the visualization. And we perform all 4 kinds of analysis here: the descriptive analysis, inferential analysis, predictive analysis, and perspective analysis. Okay, I will explain you later in this session what does it mean, and we will learn about this all the univariate analysis, the data visualization, data manipulation, correlation analysis, hypothesis testing, a priori, k-means, neural network. We will not go in deep in the neural network in this workshop. K-nearest neighbor is the uh, classification algorithm we use, uh, and linear regression model, logistic regression. This we all study here. And we also learn about the sentiment analysis, churning analysis. And there are various projects regarding this, the meta-analysis, pandemic analysis, just like COVID, market basket analysis, and the customer segment analysis. This all we learn here about in this thing. And first of all, we see wherever data, there is the statistics. Okay. So first we see the general definition of the statistics, because the everything starts with the statistics. And in the data analytics, the data science, and the machine learning, and the artificial intelligence, you should have the knowledge of statistics. So some of you already have the knowledge of statistics. I know that some of you may be from the statistical background, and some of you already learned the statistics in some courses. So if we see the general definition of the statistics, so it is the science and art of collecting, classifying, computing, analyzing, interpreting, and presentation of data and its insights. Okay. We see that it is a science as well as art also. Why it is science? First we see it, then we see later on, then why it is art. Okay. So for this purpose, I will show you one example. Here the some data is written here, and we have to find out the mean of this small data, 2, 5, 8, 10, 7. So can you work it out for me? What would be the mean of this small data set? Please you calculate and write in the chat box. What would be the mean of this 2, 5, 8, 10, 7? Yeah. Please do. Do carefully it, and don't do the calculation mistake. The some of you are doing the calculation mistake, like the Sehab. Please calculate properly. Hang when you can. Please you calculate it again. I think you are calculating. You are doing some mistake in the calculation, in the adding. Okay. Okay. So I am getting on the chat box that most of you are getting the mean 6.4. Okay. The mean is nothing. It is the aggregation of the values of the numbers and divide by the total number, whatever we have. So it is the 32 by 5, correct? It is the 6.4. So we are all getting the same mean. Okay. So it is a science. Science always gives us the same result. The result will be always uniform. If you mix the acid and base, you will always get the salt and water. You won't get the alcohol out of that. So the same thing here in the science also. We are using some formula. We are using some technique. We are using a technique and the formula here for calculating the mean. So we all get the same mean. Okay, so it is a science. We always get the same result out of this. Does that make sense to everyone? Why it is science? Because we are using some formula. We are using some formula and the technique by which we are doing it, and we all get the uniform result. Okay, so it is a science. Second thing, why it is an art? Okay, so for that, I will show you another slide. And here you see it is a glass of water. So how do you interpret it? Can you write the interpretation of this glass of water? Half empty, half full, half full, half filled. Yeah. Okay. Most of you are writing that this glass is half empty, and some of you are writing that this glass is half full. So it is the half empty, somebody is writing that half empty, and some are writing that here is half full, half filled, or half full. In statistics, it gives us so many things in the result, but it hides the important one always behind the result, behind the values. And we have to find out that thing during interpretation. That is very important. Result values always we get in the numeric form. Mostly we get in the numeric form in the result in the statistics, because we are working in the data. And behind that value, something is hidden. Okay. And you have to discover the whole thing out of that value, not the partial one. Sometimes we get only the partial interpretation, not the complete interpretation. So here also this thing is happening with the person who are not more experienced in the interpretation of the things. So you see, the correct interpretation of this would be, this glass is full, this glass is full, half with water and half with air. Am I right? So there is a air and here is a water. Okay, so this is the correct interpretation of this. Okay, so whenever we get the result in a numeric form, we require some experience to interpret the value. Interpretation is always in a word form. It is a statement. Okay, it is not a value. And a value is the result. Interpretation is a statement. So whenever you have to interpret, it requires some experience. So it is an art, because the art requires the experience. Okay. So if you want to learn music, then you have to do the practice for it. You have to gain the experience. Okay, then you could learn it. So the same thing is here. In the interpretation part, there is a requirement of experience. So you have to do more and more work on the statistics and these results, and then you have to interpret it. You have to see the interpretation on the internet also, how the people are doing the interpretation of certain thing. And then you could get the experience, and then you get the learning through this. Okay, so it is an art. So I have explained you the thing that why it is an art and why it is a science. So we now come back to our first slide again. So here you see the definition I explained you. The science and art we understand. We collect the data. First we collect the data. We have the different sources, various sources of collecting the data. You could collect through the internet, through the Google form, and through some data created by some machines in the hospital, like TMT machine and echocardiography and some other machines and the sonography machines and the other machines. We are getting the data, collecting data in a different form. And we are collecting the data from a mall. And then we classify the data. So we will also study about the classifications of the data, various classifications of the data we will study in this session. And then we compute. What we compute? We compute the statistics. Whatever we do the computation, like the mean, mode, median, some other things also. So these are all called the statistics, what we are computing on the sample. Okay. When we talk about the population, it is a parameter. Okay. But if we are conducting with the sample, then it is a statistics. So what we compute the statistics, and then we, after computing, we get some result, and then we analyze the result. Analysis is a mind process. Okay. So we are going to become a data analyst. So our mindset should be analytical mindset. We have to nourish it as a analytical mindset, our mind. So we analyze it, and finally, and the last, we do the interpretation and presentation of our interpretation of the data and its insights, whatever we have got. Okay, so that is the statistics. Is there any doubt? Does that make sense to everyone? If you have any doubt, you could ask me. Either you unmute yourself, you could ask me, or you could write on the chat box. Okay, so this is the basic statistics we see here. Everything depends on the data. Here you see the word is data is here. So wherever the data, there is statistics. Okay, so this is the definition of statistics. Along with this, I have written one big question here. What is first statistics? Tlanu, please you mute yourself. Please you mute yourself. Please you mute yourself. Someone. Just a moment. Okay. So here is the question that what is first statistics? Can someone tell me what is first statistics? What first computation do you do in a statistics? What is your first computation in the statistics? Yeah. Please you write on the chat box. Can someone do? Observing data, that is a process. That is not our statistics. Problem identification is a process. Mean is correct as statistics. Classifying the data, this is all the process. This is all the process. Frequency is correct. One of the frequency is correct. Frequency is correct. Frequency is correct. Okay. So I explain you. If you have a categorical data like a gender, what you will do? We have the three categories in that data. Suppose you have a category like right here. You have three categories in the gender. Data is a gender, is a column name. And you have three categories like male, female, and transgender. And you have total 80 persons. Now out of them, 40 is male and 30 is female and 10 is transgender. Okay. So if you make a graph of this frequency, the bar plot, if you produce a bar plot or you make a table for this in this form, you make a table, this is the frequency you are writing here. So if you present this, it would be not a correct way to present your data. Frequency is not a statistics. It is inside the data. We are just telling it. Telemarking, through telemarking, we are getting this statistics, the frequency. It is inside of the data. And it is a part of the data. It is not a statistics basically. So we find out the statistics. So what statistics we use generally in spite of this? So now you are able to guess it. What we use for this? We use the percentage. What we use? Percentage. Okay. Percentage is what? Percentage is nothing. It is a proportion basically. Or proportion is what? It is nothing. It is a probability basically. Proportion and probability means the favorable outcome over total outcomes. Okay. favorable outcome over total outcomes. This is our probability. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay.
Yes.
And we multiply this proportion with 100%. In the mathematical rule, you know that if you multiply some number with a number, then you have to also divide by that also. If you are going to multiply 40 with 100, then you have to divide it also by 100. Otherwise, the value will change. So what the 1 over 100 here, I could write in this way, 40 into 100 into 1 by 100. So 1 by 100 is nothing. It is the percent per 100. So what we do, in the proportion we multiply with 100%. I have written here. We multiply with 100%. Does that make sense to everyone? So whenever you represent your frequency, not in the form of frequency you present it, you present in the form of percentage. It would be better. Because if you present this in a form of frequency, then it is compulsory to mention the total number. If I say there were 40 male in my workshop, so there is a need to explain how many persons were there in the workshop. Okay. If I say there were, if I find out the percentage of this, 40 into 100, the proportion is 80%, I get 1 by 2, it is the 50%. So if I say the 50% were male in my workshop, it makes some sense. Does that make sense to everyone? It gives us some meaning. It is not incomplete or the partial information. Okay. Okay. So this is the first statistic, is the probability. You understand now? First statistic is the probability. Statistics starts from the probability. Now, I say the first statistic is the probability and the last statistic is also the probability. The start of statistics is probability and end of the statistics is also probability. Okay. So I explain why it is so. I just remove this annotation from here. And just a moment, I clear this board so you could better understand. Whenever we make a model in the machine learning or we do the inferential analysis, whatever, first I talk about the inferential analysis. Most of you already know about the inferential analysis. Inferential analysis is what? It is the hypothesis testing we do sometimes. There is many hypothesis testing we do in a research work, the PhD and the research paper and everywhere. So how we get it? How we accept or reject the hypothesis? Finally, we accept and reject the hypothesis on the basis of probability. If you have a confidence of 95% confidence level you have, it means you have level of significance is 5%. It means 0.05. 5% means 0.05 is the probability. If your test results give you the probability less than 0.05, it means your null hypothesis has been rejected. If your test result is more than 0.05, the probability of test result is more than 0.05, it means your null hypothesis has been accepted at the 95% confidence level. Okay. So how we are concluding the inferential analysis? How we are getting the conclusion of this? Through the probability. The end point is what? End point is the probability in the inferential analysis. Now we come to the predictive analysis, like the machine learning model or the artificial intelligence model. I discussed you with one chatbot. You know that there is a bot we use In the chatbot, you see in most of the bank application, mobile application, you see there is a chatbot. And there's so many websites we see now a chatbot. There is a Facebook, there is a chat, WhatsApp, there is a chatbot now. Everywhere we see the chatbot. Chatbot is what? Okay, if you see the Alexa, if you see the Siri, and Sophia, and these are all some sort of bot. And they are the speaking, they speak basically. So there is a voice interaction in the chatbot if we provide. So it is a like Alexa and Siri or the Google Assistant also. So how we get the conclusion of this? So first I explain you about the chatbot. How does it work? Not a chatbot, chatbot. Okay. Chatbot we use in the mobile application. You know that the most of the mobile application have the chatbot. And the basically the bank mobile application, we see the chatbot over there. So in the chatbot, there are two models. In one bot, there are two models. One is the user interface. Second one is the dialog management model. Okay. So user interface model use the NLP, natural language processing. And it divide the, if you have to inquiry something, you have a different sentence. You have a different way to asking something. I have different way to asking the same thing what you are going to ask. So every person has a different way of talking the same thing. Are you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So every person have a different sentence structure, and the intention would be same. Your intention and mine intention would be same. What we are going to ask in the chatbot. So what the user model do? It catch the intention. There is an intent and entity, and through the NLP we sort out the intent and entity. Okay, and after getting the intent, it will transfer. How it get the intent? There are so many intent. Suppose we are inquiring something, we are going to get the information, we are complaining, we could complain on the chatbot, we could want some inquiry, some information from the chatbot, and there's so many activities we could perform through the chatbot. So it just catch the intention of your statement, whether it is inquiry, whether it is inquiry or it is a complaint, or it is a warning, or it is a threat, or in this way we get it. So there are so many intents are there. So it find out the intent of everything, and it find out the probability of each intent through that sentence. So you get out the probability, and whatever the intent possess highest probability, that intent it transferred to dialog management model. Okay, only that intent. Suppose you have an inquiry, intent probability is 0.60, and your complaining probability, intent probability is 0.3, and some other intent has the different probability label. But the highest probability is the inquiry. So it will transfer that inquiry intent to the dialog management model. And dialog management model, as per that intent, it will respond to you. Does that make sense to you? So what it is doing, how we are concluding that the NLP or the user interface model, we are concluding with the probability. What we are doing, we are concluding with the probability. So there is also the end of the statistics with the probability. Human brain also works in this way. Okay, we are also predictive manner. Everything is predictive. We step up the staircase, and then we have the probability in our mind. The step, we have to put the step here, we have to put our foot here and our foot here. In this way, it also works on the probability. You come out from the office and go to the home. You always remember where we have to next, we have to turn right and then we have to left. You automatically go to your home on your vehicle. So that is the probability is working on your mind. Okay, it is a predictions are there. So everything is working in that manner. The same process we use in the machine. Okay. Am I audible to you now? My voice is clear or not? Somebody is telling that then my voice is not clear.
It's clear.
It's clear. Please you check your headphone or whatever your earphone you are using. I think the voice is clear here.
Might be internet connection.
Okay, due to internet connection, it may be there. Okay, the problem. So this is the thing. So statistics starts with probability and ends with probability. Does that make sense to everyone? Everything is between the probability, whatever the mean, the dispersion, the standard deviation, correlation analysis, regression analysis. These all are between this. Okay. So now I explain you what is data analysis, because we are going to take the workshop data analytics. So we should know the definition of data analytics. It is a process. It is a process. Just a moment, I give a number. It is a process of inspecting the data. We inspect the data and we clean the data, transform the data as per our requirement, row and columns, and finally we model the data, okay, train the data with a goal of discovering useful information out of it, informing conclusions and supporting in decision making. That is the data analysis. Basically, it is a process. Okay. So statistics is in science and art, and data analysis is a process. Okay, we do this all of activity in this data analysis. R is not data analysis. Python is not data analytics. These are only the tool which we use to do the data analytics. Data analytics is your knowledge, what you will get over here. Data analytics are the concepts, what you will learn here. That is the data analytics. Okay. So that you will learn the all process and everything here. How do we do it? So that is the data analysis. Or it is not R, it is not Python. You could do the data analysis manually. You could do the data analysis on advanced Excel or the Excel. You could do the data analysis on the SPSS, but every tool and everything, every every mod has its limitations. If you do the manually, you should have the small data and the very few data size, small data size. Then you could do the manually something. If you have the big data, then you require some specific tools like R and Python. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Now, we see what is data science, because if you are talking about the data analysis, then we should also understand what is data science also. Data science is basically umbrella term. It encompasses so many things like the data analytics, data mining is there, machine learning, and the several other related disciplines. So if we have an objective and we are going to get out the result of that as per that objective. So that is the data analytics we are doing here. What is data mining? Data mining don't have any objective, but we have a data. Then we mine the data and then we sort out some important insights out of that data, some informations from that data, which we have not pre-decided. Does that make sense to everyone? Because somebody asked me about what is the difference between data analytics and the data mining. So data mining, you don't have any objective. You don't know what to do with the data, but you have the data. Okay. So you mine the data and then you find out some good information from that data. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? Now, machine learning is also there. Machine learning is basically with the data analytics part. It is a predictive modeling we do with it, and the several other related disciplines like the deep learning, neural networking. These all comes under this big umbrella of data science. Data science is an interdisciplinary field that uses scientific methods and processes, algorithms, and systems to extract knowledge and insights. Black object. Remove the black object that is covering the screen of the speaker. Screen of the speaker.
It was earlier, now it is not there.
Okay. Okay. Now, so data science is an I explained is an umbrella term, and we extract the knowledge and insights from many structured and unstructured data. Okay. Data science is related to data mining, machine learning, and big data. These are all things we already heard about it. I will not go deep in the data exploration part more. Okay. And there are so many things. The data wrangling is also there. We will discuss this thing later, because if I discuss this all thing all together, so you may get confused. Okay. So I am not going to explain these all things all together today. I will explain it later one by one in our succeeding sessions. Okay. When we get some knowledge, and then we could differentiate it. Otherwise you could get confusion through this all. Data warehousing, the feature engineering is there, then the feature selection is there. So this all we have to understand. This all terminology is very important. Now we come to the analysis part. We see the classifications of the analysis. Okay. Analysis refers to breaking a whole into a separate components for individual examination. What does it mean by the separate components? It means we have a different sort of analysis. First component is the descriptive, second is the inferential, third one is the predictive, fourth one is the perspective. Descriptive is the very basic one. Here you see I have written that what is. Okay. Whatever we have in the data, it is a descriptive analysis. Either it may be in the form of frequency, it may be in the mean of something, some variable, it may be the standard deviation of some variable, some column. Okay, I am explaining with the example, don't worry. So suppose you have a, in this session, we could see that how many males are there, how many females are there is descriptive. Okay. And how many are the graduate, how many are the doctorate, how many are the undergraduate. So these are all the descriptive. And we could see the average age of the male participants. So average is the mean we are getting of the male participants. So mean is also a descriptive analysis. And then we could find out the standard deviation also of the male and the female participants and their mean age. We could find it out. So these are all comes in a descriptive analysis. Does that make sense to you? Or we could also see the correlation between the male age and the female age. Okay. So if there is a positive correlation or the negative correlation, whatever here in this workshop. So it is the very simple example I have explained to you. Is there any doubt? You could ask me if you are not getting it. Okay. Don't hesitate to ask me any question. Okay.
Okay.
So if you have any doubt, you could ask me anytime. Okay.
Yes.
Now that we see the inferential part now. Inferential analysis, you have seen that I have written over there that it is what it is. Sorry, why it is. Why it is. It means in the inferential analysis, we generally use the hypothesis. And it is the hypothesis testing part is there. And in the hypothesis testing, generally we see that there is a significant difference or not, whether there is significant difference or not in something. Okay. So if we get the significant difference, suppose we have the students of 2 sections of standard 10th. Okay. And we get the average marks of the both sections students, section A and section B. The section A students have the average marks 62%. And the section B has an average marks is 54%. Okay. Now we want to distinguish, we want to know, is there significant difference in their marks? There is a difference, we know that, but whether this difference is significant or not. So for that purpose, we use the hypothesis test. Okay. So through this hypothesis test, we find out whether the difference is significant or not. If we get the difference is significant, then we find out the cause of that difference, why it is so. Why the section B students are getting lower marks than section A students. What is the reason behind that? Then we search it out. So it is the inferential analysis is the study of cause and effect. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So third one.
Yeah.
Third one analysis, we have the predictive analysis. Here I have written what will be. Here I give one simple example, which I give always, or everybody aware of that thing, that we know that the rain and crop production have a positive correlation. If there is a good rain, there would be good crop in that country or that region. Everybody knows it. Or we have a data of last 50 years of a certain region. Okay. And we have also the crop production data of that region of last 50 years. So we have developed one predictive model through that data. Okay. This millimeter rain occurs in a whole season, the crop production would be this much, this metric ton we are getting. This data we have. And we have development model. And in that developed model, we put the value of that rain of the whole rainy season, how much rain occurred over there in the millimeter. And then we get the output of the crop. This metric ton crop would be there. So this is a predictive model. Through this predictive model, we could explain. We could explain it. Okay. We could predict something, what will be. If you have this much, then you will get this. If you have this much, you will get this. Okay. If you have 10 rupees, you could only purchase the samosa. If you have the 50 or the 100 rupees, you could purchase a pizza, or the burger, you could purchase a burger if you have the 50 bucks. If you have 300 bucks, you could purchase a pizza. So that is the prediction I am telling to you. So that is the same thing we do in the predictive model. Okay. So this is the machine learning part starts from here. The predictive, the linear regression, and the logistic regression is also used for the inferential purpose as well as for the predictive purpose also. So don't be confused. The regression analysis is only for the predictive purpose. It is also for the inferential also. Okay. So I will explain you later on the difference. And fourth one is a perspective analysis.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So sorry to. So can we put this thing either way around for the predictive model? It can be a forecasting model also.
Forecasting. Okay. Okay. I explain it. In the prediction and the forecasting, there are two things. One is the prediction. Second thing is the forecasting. So can you explain what is the difference between prediction and forecasting, someone? Yeah. What do you understand with the prediction? What do you understand with the forecasting?
So forecasting can be done on the basis of the on the previous data, and
Hmm.
predictive can be on the initial stage. We can without any data we can predict the output, but the forecasting we need the previous data. Suppose if I'm holding an top line of a company,
Hmm.
so I can predict the upcoming for I can sorry I can forecast for the upcoming for 2 to 3 years.
Hmm.
But this cannot be put these things into the predictive model basically.
Hmm.
I'm not much sure about these things basically
Hmm.
for the predictive model.
Okay. Let me explain you. Uh, Predictive and the forecasting model both are based on previous data. You know, both use the previous data. Padma, you are right. Prediction and forecasting both use previous data only. Okay. But the difference between both is what? In the predictive model, you required some current input. Then you could get the prediction. As in the model of this crop production, you have a requirement of input of rain. Does that make sense to you? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear? If I have create a model for forecasting of rain only, there is only one variable, which is rain. Or I have the rain is a chronological order. I have that is a time series basically. Okay. So I have a rain of last 50 years. Chronological order, I have the data of the rain. So I will find some trend in the rain. Does that make sense to you? So I could predict the rain for this year, for the next year, for the next to next year. In this way, up to 5 years, I could forecast the rain. Does that make sense to you? I didn't have any requirement of input of other variable. Is it clear to everyone? Okay. Forecasting doesn't requirement of any input. Okay. At the time of forecast, but prediction required some input for the prediction. Is it clear to everybody? Yeah. So that is the difference between prediction and forecasting. Okay. So forecasting we also cover in our advanced courses, the time series analysis. Okay. There are various methods we use for the time series analysis. Okay. And the prediction we use the linear regression, logistic regression, decision tree model, and we use random forest, naive Bayes, support vector machine, CAN, and so many models, predictive algorithm we use. Budget is a prediction. Budget is a prediction. You have the input. You have the current input you have given there. And you could not only the sale through sale, you could predict the sale of the next year. You should also know about the what would be the cost, the labor cost, and everything. So you have to put over there the input. Then you could predict the budget. The other variables also merge in that analysis. Okay, but in the stock market, we generally use the one only the sales. Okay, that is the time series analysis basically. Okay, so that is the type of analysis. Is there any confusion? And now I explain the perspective one. The last one, analysis. Perspective means what? We have some other factors which also affect the crop production. We know that besides this rain, we have the soil quality, the seed quality, and sunlight, pesticides, fertilizers, irrigation. These all factors also affect the crop production or not? Okay, these all affect the crop production. These are also the significant variables, I think. So suppose you have a prediction of current year, like you have a prediction of X metric ton. X metric ton prediction we have for current year through our this predictive model. But there is a demand of Y metric ton, which is much more than X. Here Y is greater than X. And this gap, we have to minimize this gap. We know that the rain is not in our control. It is not a control variable. We have the two variables. We have many variables here, like the crop production is our dependent variable. Crop is our dependent variable, which is Y. Basically not this Y. This Y, we generally take Y cap right here. Generally we do not buy Y. And we have the various, the rain is the X1, and seed quality is X2, soil quality is X3. These are all the independent variables we have. And these independent variables impact on crop production. Okay. So we are predicting through this. Okay. And we have got this metric ton crop production would be X metric ton, crop production would be current year. But we have demand of the Y metric ton. So what does this perspective analysis do? It is basically artificial intelligence. Okay. It is a backward process of that. It recommends us what kind of seed you have to use for a particular kind of soil, which quality of seed you have to use for a particular specific quality of soil. It will recommend you. It will recommend you at the time of any disease what pesticides you have to use for that particular remedies in the crop. It will advise you, it will recommend you the irrigation as per the weather. It will suggest you the irrigation. How frequent you have to irrigate your field. It will advise, it will recommend you what fertilizers you have to use in your soil. So these all things, it will recommend or advise to you. And following this advice or recommendation, you could minimize this gap between X and Y. Does that make sense to everyone? This is artificial intelligence. Okay. So what is the difference between ML and AI? Okay, now we see the difference. ML is an infant. It's a small child. And AI is an adult. This is the difference. As we have learned in our life, or we are still learning through the various algorithms. So basically we use 3 or 4 algorithms. We have already using this. First is the supervised learning. Second is the unsupervised learning. Third is the semi-supervised learning. Fourth one is the reinforcement learning. In the supervised learning, what is this? What is happening here in this workshop? It is a supervised learning. Are you agree with this? And in fact, if you see a small child, her mother and father, or his or her mother and father, teach some lessons, like He is your uncle, he is your aunt, he is your grandpa. And this is an apple, and show some pictures of the lion. It is lion, it is cow, and in this way. It is the supervised learning. Unsupervised learning is what? Okay. The small child listens some abusing elements from others' mouth, and he starts to abuse in home. You have not taught him those abusing words. Okay. So this is the unsupervised learning. Does that make sense to you? Is learning by himself, observe the things and listening the things, hearing the things. If a utensils of hot milk is kept on a floor, a small child come and touch it. The next time he will touch that utensil, next day, will he touch? Okay, he will not touch. That is unsupervised learning. Now he know that it may be hot. So that is the process we use in the machine learning also. The same way we teach the machine. Semi-supervised is a, you know that the videos on the Udemy, on the internet, you see the so many videos of the courses like the data analytics, data science, and you watch those videos. That is the semi-supervised learning. Does that make sense to you? Some you are getting through the instructor, which is the speech, whose speech is in the video, and you are using more mind, more mind to understand the things. That is a semi-supervised. Okay. Reinforcement is what? Sometimes a small child, if you give a pen to a small child, it will always try to keep it in mouth. And then you do some action against it. You request him, please don't put in your mouth, it could harm you. Otherwise you warn him. Or sometimes you beat him also. We do this. So this is a reinforcement learning. He's doing some mistake and we are rectifying that mistake by the requesting or by the threatening, warning. Okay, does that make sense to you? So this all process we use, this all algorithm we use also with the machine. And in this way, the machine learns. And it is an automatic mode. So it learns through the data, whatever data we give. The food of machine learning is a data. So when it get the data, more and more data, then it retrained and retrained. And then after some time, it became an adult. And it became an AI. Does that make sense to everyone? Now he is perfect. He could respond to you. Is there any doubt, anyone? Yeah. So this is all about the different sort of analysis we cover in the upcoming sessions. Now we some more slides and then we start our theoretical part of statistics. I will explain you the main things here. Later we will learn on the upcoming sessions. I will tell you about the R only. R was released in 1995 as a direct descendant of the older S programming. It was the S programming language, basically, the first S for the statistics. And Robert and Rohak has developed it, give their contribution, major contribution for more development of this programming, S programming. So they have changed the name with R. Okay. And it is written in the C Fortran and itself also in the R. They have created this language. The project is currently supported by the R Foundation for Statistical Computing. And it has been, there is some shares has taken from the Microsoft. So it is now the major part is taken through the Microsoft, and the Microsoft also used it for a commercial license, and it is basically open source. And this, the R Foundation has kept some conditions before that Microsoft, that front of Microsoft, that it should always be open source, and whatever the library will be contributed through the R community members or the R users will be always open source. If Microsoft develops some library, then it will, the Microsoft should make kept it for the license users only. But the most of the things would be in the public form. So it is a very easy, the easiest world's easiest language, I feel so, because I have worked with Python also. I also work with Python. Most of the work we work with Python in the data science and the machine learning. What are the pros with R? Excellent range of high quality and the domain specific and open source package. R has a package for almost every quantitative and statistical application imaginable. Okay, you get a very good result in R. This includes neural network also. We could do the neural network here, non-linear regression and phylogenetic and advanced plotting and many other things we could do with the R. The base installation comes with very comprehensive inbuilt statistical functions. We have so many, and methods. R also handles matrix algebra particularly very well, and arrays and matrix also. Data visualization is is the key strength of every programming language like this, the enterprise language. And we have the ggplot2 library by which we could produce very okay. So data visualization we could do very good in this R. And if you see the cons of this R, the performance, there is no two ways about it. R is not a quick language. It is not a quick language means that if you have a very big data means you have a 40 million rows and many columns are there. So then all will get zero. R will get zero somewhere, but the Python will do it fast. But for a very big data, not for a small data, what we use in the training the model in our, we learn here, okay, in the data analytics part, the inferential analysis, and we use 10,000 rows, 40,000 rows, 1 lakh rows, 15 lakh rows. So we could do it with R, no problem. But we have the millions of rows that we require the Python for a big data. It takes long time. It do the work. It doesn't mean that it will not do the work with the very big data. It also do the work, but it will take more time. The more time, maybe the 2 times and 3 times more, 5 times more duration will cover. Domain specificity in the R is fantastic for statistics and data science purpose, but less for the general purpose programming. Python is a general programming language. We could use for the web development, we could use for the embedded purpose, but R we could not use for other purpose except only the statistical and the data analytics and the data science only. QXR has a few unusual features that might catch out programmers experienced with other languages. For instance, indexing in the most of the programming language, the indexing starts with 0. Here in R, the indexing starts with 1. Okay. And using multiple assignment operators, we could use the multiple assignment operators we have. Using multiple assignment operators means we are using equal as an assignment. We could also use some other symbol for the assignment. And so I will explain you that in the practical session. Unconventional data structures. We could not work with unconventional data structures. Okay. So that is the thing here in R. We could not, unconventional data structures means, what does it mean? So I explain you, we could not work very good with the text data or with the images in R. Okay. It would be better the unstructured data we use work with Python in a good way. No, with the R, you could not make a good website creation. It is a Shiny app we use, but they are developing R in that way. But as I feel, it is better for the data analytics purpose only. Okay. Because if we use the Shiny app, we also deploy the model through the Shiny app also. And there we see you should have the R server, you have the purchase, and then you could do it. Okay. But with Python, there is no restrictions for the server, what you are using. You're using Amazon, you're using some other else, no problem. You're using Azure, so no problem. So that is the thing there. Okay, no problem. If video is only requirement for the when we start the session, only that time. In the during session, there is no requirement of the video. Okay, no requirement of the video. So if you see the verdict final, R is a powerful language that excels at a huge variety of statistical and data visualization applications. And being open source allows for a very active community of contributors. Its recent growth in popularity is a testament of how effective it is and what it does. Okay. So this is all about the R. I will tell you later about R, but first we start our theoretical part so you could better understand what is statistics and what are the classifications of the data. And then tomorrow we will understand this graphical user interface and the idea of the R. Okay. So I just start that session. Now this whiteboard is not is now in your screen, and I just delete this all, and I resize it. And wear some my pleasant colors which I like. I use these few colors which I like too much. Few more colors. Okay, let's start. I think my screen is not is now on your, sorry, it is on your window, and we start this session. Okay. First, we start the classifications of the data. because we know that we are going to work with data. So we see the classifications of data. So we learn about some specific types of classifications only. There are so many classifications of the data. So first we study about the first classification. Sometimes some people say it is according to structure, it is according to work also. So I say it is according to work. According to structure, we have the unstructure and the structure form. That is also according to structure. So I'm using here the according to work. We know that it is for the numeric form of data. And if we see the numeric form of data, generally we get, already you all aware of this. It is the raw data first, then discrete data, and finally the continuous data we have. I explain you, whenever we get a numeric data, we are talking about the numeric data only, not about the categorical data. Okay, so I just write here the numeric data. Numeric data. Okay, this I am writing here. If we talk about the raw data, we get the raw data. Suppose I am writing here, we are going to conduct a survey in a certain city like Mumbai. We are going to conduct a survey for the UNICEF. We want to know for the 100 families of the each area, like the in Kandivali, we are selecting 100 homes in a particular area, and we find out the information from them. And we also Ville Palle, we are using the same thing. And the some other region like the Mira Road, we are getting the information. What information we are going to find out? I explain you. First, we are getting the information how many children below 5 years of age are there in each family. Okay, how many children of below 5 years age in each family. Why it is so? Because we have to distribute the polio drop those children who are less than 5 years of age. Okay, so this we are getting. So if I talk about this, so number of children, so we will get the data, number of children. In the first family, we get 2 children below 5 years. Second family, we got no children below 5 years. Third family, we got 1, then 2, then 2, then 1, then 3, then no, then 4, then 1, then 3, then 2. In this way, we are getting. Does that make sense to everyone? Number of children. And this data, if we see the unique values in this data, unique values in the data, we are getting only very few unique values are there. We have the 100 observations, but we have only 5 unique values. We have the unique values 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 only, below 5 years children's. And we could convert, if we have very unique values, very few unique values in our data, raw data, if we have very few unique values, then we could convert that, we could treat it as a discrete data. Manually what we do, we write in this way: X 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we write the frequency. The 0 children in 12 families, 1 children is 18 families, 2 children in 36 families, 3 children in 20 families, and the remaining is here. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes,
It is a discrete data. We have a very few unique values, then then it is treated as a discrete data. Why we are learning this? Because we get the data in this form. Number of children, we get a column of number of children, in our data frame, and here we get in this way number. Okay, if we have 5,000 data overall from the Bombay, 100 samples, we have accumulated these all from the different areas of the Bombay, and we get in this way. Then we have to classify whether it is discrete or continuous. If it is discrete, then we convert that column, this particular column, in a factor form. Does that make sense to you? It would be a factor now. The type of data would be a factor in R for a discrete data. Or discrete data is what? Wherever we have the few unique values. Few unique values, like we have the 5 unique values which are repeating again and again. Okay, so that is the thing. For the continuous purpose, if we have to also measure the weight of the all children below 5 years, so we get the weight in this way. I changed the color so you could better understand. If you talk about the weight, so here I am hypothetically giving the weight. I don't know. It may be 3.5 kg. It may be 3.52 kg. It may be 4 kg. It may be 5.14 kg. It may be 5.12 kg. It may be 4.9 kg. It may be in this way we get the weight of the children below 5 years. Does that make sense to everyone? If we see the unique values of this, so we get so many unique values, not like this 5 only. We may get 30 unique values. We may get 80 unique values. Does that make sense to everyone? So wherever we have the more unique values, then it is a continuous data. We don't do anything with that column. As it is, we will keep it. Does that make sense to everyone? Will not convert this column in factor. Okay. Okay, does that make sense to you? So, this is a first classification. What is raw data? What is discrete data? What is continuous data? Does that make sense to everyone? Is it clear to all? Now, second classification we see. Second classification is according to nature of data. According to nature. If we see the according to nature of the data, there is a nominal data, there is an ordinal data, there is an interval data, there is a ratio data. Okay. What is nominal data basically is? Nominal data, wherever you get the name, naming is somewhere. It is a nominal data. It is a categorical basically. Categorical in the sense, if you have a gender column, we have the male and female. These are the category. Okay. So this is our nominal data. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? If you have a name of cities like Mumbai, Bangalore, Calcutta, name of the countries like USA, UK, Australia, these are all nominal data. Okay. After completing this theoretical part, Sumaira, we start with R, because this thing is very important. Without this knowledge, you could not perform the data analytics with R. That is only a tool. Okay. The knowledge is this concept must be clear first. Ordinal data is there is an order, but there is no fixed interval between the values. There is no milestones. Okay. There is no fixed interval. So some Likert type of scale we use sometimes for this sort of data. We use some Likert type scale. Likert type scale, because it is not a scale. A scale is always have the same intervals. Okay. So if I show you the scale is what, so you know that our ruler, you know that which we use in our compass is the 0 and 1 centimeter and the 2 centimeter and the 3 centimeter and the 4 centimeter. You see the same difference between these. The difference from 0 to 1 is same, from 1 to 2 is same, from 2 to 3 is same, from 3 to 4. These are the uniform intervals. But in the Likert type scale, we don't have that thing. So here what happens, here we have some order. We have order from worst to best, like that. But we don't have an equal interval between them. Just like we take a 5-point Likert scale of agreement. So it is a strongly disagree. Then disagree, not certain, agree, and strongly agree. So if I give some number to this, the 1, 2, 3, this is the order I am giving to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are the orders. So the interval between 1 and 2 is not same. Strongly disagree and disagree. I give one example for this. Suppose there are 3 employees working in a company. Okay. A, B, and C, 3 employees are working in a company on the same post in the sales. And the company decides to give them an increment of 3,000 bucks, rupees, or whatever. 3,000 rupees increment company wants to give them in their monthly salary. But all 3 are strongly disagree with this amount at this moment. All 3 are strongly disagree. Then company decided, management decide, we add on some more amount to this, rupees 2,000 more. The total would be 5,000. So this 2,000 amount, what happens? I make here a scale, strongly disagree, disagree, not certain, agree, and strongly agree. Okay. And there is no fixed interval between this, you know that. So what happens? Why it is not the uniform interval? I explain you. Mr. A is now with this 2,000 additional increment, he is now strongly disagree to strongly agree. Now he switched from SD to SA with this 2,000 rupees amount additional, Mr. A. But Mr. B only switched to not certain. with this 2000 rupees amount. And Mr. C only shifted to disagree from strongly disagree. So you see, the amount is same, but the interval is different. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So there is no fixed interval. Okay. So it is called a ordinal data. And it is very important. So we always give the different treatment to this ordinal data. It's a specific one. Okay, I will explain you later on the inferential analysis, what sort of treatment we give them. Because mostly in the research work, we use that. Okay. So please, someone has mic open. So is that make sense to you? Ordinal? Now we talk about the interval and the ratio. I'm writing here one interval and here one ratio. And this two scale, only one thing is different. Everything is same. And one thing is different, that is 0. That is 0. There are two types of 0. One is pseudo and one is real. Okay. What is pseudo 0? So you see the temperature. And we measure the temperature with degree Celsius. What does it mean by 0 degree Celsius temperature? Does that mean there is no temperature? Does it mean there is no temperature? If I say there is 0 degree Celsius temperature.
That means it is too cold.
Too cold. But it doesn't mean that there is no temperature.
No, sir. It means if there is a 0 degree, that means there is a temperature.
There is a temperature. Okay. So it is a pseudo. Okay. Dr. Yadav is telling it's arbitrary, correct? It is
Sir,
not
what
actual 0.
does pseudo means exactly?
It is it means the lie, jhuta. It is not a real. That the thing which is not real,
So,
opposite
sir,
of real.
hypothetical line.
Yeah. It is we say the lie or we could say the jhuta अपन बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में. That is pseudo. Okay. It is not a real one. So it is the 0 degree means the temperature where water starts to freeze. Okay. And the minus also there is temperature. And if I talk about the marks in the examination, we get the marks in the examination. We get a 0 marks. What does it mean? Is it real 0? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It is a real 0. If I say in my pocket there is 0 money in my pocket, it means there is empty. My pocket is empty. There is nothing. Does that make sense? It is real 0.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Yeah.
real 0 has some characteristic. If we multiply any number with 0, it converts the result in 0. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
If we divide any number by 0, then it will make it infinite.
Infinite.
Okay? This is the specific characteristic of 0, properties of 0, you could say that. But this pseudo 0, if you multiply this in the degree Celsius, but in the column we don't have this degree Celsius unit, it would be on the top of the name in the column. Okay, we get only here value 0, -5, 2, 43, this way. And if we have some other column, we are going to do the mathematical operation or the multiplication operation with that column. So this pseudo zero doesn't have this property. It is a pseudo, it is not a real. So it don't possess that quality of real zero. So it could not convert this value. If we multiply this, it will not convert this to zero. Does that make sense to you? This
Yes, sir.
5 and this 8 here is 8. So it is okay. It is minus 48. It is okay. It is correct. But it is not. It will not be equal to 0. Does that make sense to everyone? With other temperature, it is okay. Except 0. Okay. So what we have to do at that moment? First of all, we have to see the column wherever the temperature or this sort of physical quantities, and I have to see the unique values. How many unique values are there? If there is very few unique values, so we convert them in factor. Factor means it is a categorical now. It is a categorical. It is not a numeric. If you convert in the factor, it is a categorical. So there is no, you don't have to bother about the multiplication process at all. Now it is a category now. It is a character now. Does that make sense to everyone? If the unique values are very few, and only we have 5 values out of 1000 data sets.
And sir, if we have more unique values, then
I explain you. If we have more unique values, what we will do? We will convert them in class interval first. Or one thing should we remember, we be very careful. We have to put 0 in the upper limit or the lower limit. Okay, just like if you have the minus 10 to minus 5 and minus 5 to 0, in the upper limit I am writing the 0, and then 0 to 5 and 5 to 10 and 10 to 15. In this way I could do it. Does that make sense to everyone? Now after converting in class interval, I will find out the class mark, or it is the class mark or the mean of this. Okay, that is I will add on these 2 and divide by 2. I will get the average of this. So it is the minus 15 divided by 2. I will get minus 7.5. Here I will get minus 2.5. Here I will get plus 2.5. Here I will get plus 7.5. Here I will get 12.5. Does that make sense to everyone? There will be no 0 now.
sir, I am not able to understand this point, the class intervals.
It is a class interval we are making. Whatever the temperature between minus 10 and minus 5, you will put that frequency here. This many times is here. The frequency would be there. You will you have a temperature. Suppose you have a temperature minus 7.5, or you have a temperature 9.2 minus. So you will always keep for that minus 7.5. You will put minus 10 to minus 5. This interval. And for minus 9.2, you also write minus 10 to minus 5. Does that make sense to you? If you have minus 8, you will write here minus 10 to minus 5. So you will get this way. If you have 0, so 0 will be here included, not here, the upper limit. It is on the lower side. So it will write here 0 to 5. Okay. If you have minus 2.5, then you will write minus 5 to 0. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
So in this way do, and then we find out the class interval or class mark of this. Okay, mean class or class mean, we could say it. So we add on this and divide by 2. 2 number we are adding and divide by 2. So we get this 7.5 in this way. Okay.
Yes.
So it is not, it is 7.5 minus 7.5 minus 7.5 for this, and this is for 2.5, and this is for minus 2.5. Does that make sense to you now? Now you are getting, instead of 0, what you are getting? 2.5. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So it is the class mark we are using. So here you will not get any 0 because you have used the 0 in the upper and the lower limit. It is not in the middle of that. Okay. So we will not obtain 0 here in this column. Now we could multiply, we could take any mathematical operation or arithmetical operation over this column. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Finally, you could turn off your video, no problem. There is no need to turn on your video. Okay, now it is only in the start when we start the lecture. When we introduce it, we just see the persons. Only at that moment we require this. In the class time, there is no requirement of it. Is there any doubt? Someone may ask to me. Okay. So this is about the pseudo zero. The difference between interval and ratio zero is what? In the interval zero, scale, there is pseudo zero, or as well as real zero we could also take. But in the ratio, we always require only the real zero. Does that make sense to you? In interval, we could use both. Interval, we could use both. Okay. But in ratio, we require only the real zero. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. Okay. And this is the second classification, and the third and final, which we use in the R. So I explain you that classification. According to function. This is our last one. And here you see in the R, we have one is the numeric data type, the classification. Second is the character. Third one is our logical. Fourth one is our raw. Fifth one is complex. So these we don't have to study here at that moment. At this moment, it is used in the data science part. Numeric, the numbers whatever you use is the numeric data, and it may be the integer, it may be the natural number, maybe the decimal also. So decimal is called generally the double. And the character, whenever we write a text, the name of the category, whatever we write, the name of the city, like Delhi, the name of the country, or name of the person, male, female, this sort of things we write in the character form. We use the single or double quote. Okay. If we write a number also in a quote, then it is a character. Then we could not use this in a mathematical operation. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So that is our character data, which is we write in the quotes. And the logical, there is true and false. We get the response true and false only logical. Some certain statement we write, whether it is true or false. That is the logical one. Okay. So this is the according to function. We know that this is all. And this is all about the classifications of the data. And tomorrow we study some theoretical part also. And tomorrow we finish it, and tomorrow I will explain you about the R, how to download and install the R programming in the R Studio. Or we also study some theoretical part like the measure of central tendency, mean, mode, median, little bit, not about the formula and that all. We just know the concept, central tendency. And we study about the measure of dispersion, and correlation analysis. Okay, this theoretical part we cover tomorrow, and after covering this, we see how to download R and install R in your system. And day after tomorrow we start the basic codings of R. Okay, and it's very simple language, and you could learn it very easily. Okay, so we wind up this year, and
Sir, I have a question. Like, I have not registered myself for the certificate. So, like, can I do it now also? Or
yeah, you can do it now. You can do it now, no problem.
I have also shared the WhatsApp link of that the WhatsApp group link on the chat box. Please join the WhatsApp group of this workshop. Once again, I am sharing here. Those who have not yet registered can register there, and if you want to get certificate, you can fill the certificate form. And tomorrow again same time will start, and again we are starting the same session 7 o'clock, 7 to 9. And today itself will start because there is lots of participants who kept waiting outside, so they demanded to have the new session. So 7 o'clock we are starting again. So those who want to repeat can repeat 7 o'clock, or if you by mistake you are not able to log in or have some technical issue, you can join the 7 to 9 program also. The same program will get repeated every day. This week only. This is only for this week. Next week we will be have the intermediate program also. Kindly keep yourself muted if you don't have queries. Okay. Any other queries? Catherine, we are not able to hear you. Okay. So again, I am repeating. Those who have any queries, question, we will be available on WhatsApp group also, on by mail also, by call also. Feel free to contact us. So let's connect tomorrow 5 to 7 o'clock dispatch. And those who want to repeat can repeat 7 o'clock. We will just shut down this meeting and then we'll start again in 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Bye for now. Thank you, sir.
Thanks everyone. Thanks Mukeshji.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir.
Thank you for the participation.
Sir.
Okay. Thanks everyone. Okay. Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony.
Appreciate it.
Repeat the program, what you told, like intermediate program in the
See you
next week.
tomorrow.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Good night, sir.
Sir, can we off the meeting and then we start in?
Okay. Okay. Okay.